Sir Topham Hatt had purchased 4 new engines, 3 with names, 1 with just a number. The 3 with names were Gordon, Eagle, and Brandon, who was better known as 98462. Gordon and Brandon had an attitude and thought they were too modern to pull goods trains, while Eagle did whatever jobs he was assigned to without fuss. The other engine's number was 87546. Now 87546 was not like most engines. He never said anything to anyone, and did all his jobs with a frown on his face. The other engines thought nothing of this. They were thankful he wasn't rude like Gordon or Brandon. All that is, except for Edward. "You know, Gordon," Brandon said one night, "each of these engines is useless in their own way. But us, we are important express engines. We're too important to shunt like Thomas or Edward over there. And do I have to get started about that 87546? He never even says anything to any of us." Thomas was about to retort, but Edward gave him a look. Edward wanted to help 87546 too, but he just didn't know how. Fortunately, he would get his chance sooner than expected. The long, heavy goods train needed to go to the end of the line. Gordon and Brandon refused to move, so Sir Topham Hatt asked Henry and 87546 to do it. However, Henry had trouble steaming up, so Sir Topham Hatt asked Edward to help. Edward was delighted. The 2 engines made good time, and the journey went very smoothly. By the time they reached the big station, it was already noon, so they decided to sleep at Vicarstown sheds. All was silent until Edward started to talk. "What a nice run. Wouldn't you agree?" 87546 said nothing. Edward tried again. "Well, at least we get to rest our wheels now." Again there was silence. Edward sighed. 87546, why won't you talk to us? Me, Henry, Thomas, and Eagle would love to have another engine to talk to at night. "Because I thought you would be like the engines on my old line," 87546 stammered. Edward was surprised. He wasn't expecting 87546 to respond so easily. "I would do most of the goods work on my old line because they felt that goods were for engines who had no purpose. The other engines would always hiss at me and never let me sleep in the shed. And the worst part is that Brandon was the main face of it all. Brandon and I used to work on the same line, but He was a much different engine for the first couple days. He would do any job he wanted and would always keep me company when the other engines were rude to me, but their attitudes soon went to his smoke box, and he was soon the main face of all the drama I faced. Now, I don't know if I should trust anyone, because I don't want the same thing to happen again. This time Edward was silent. I am sorry that happened to you, Edward started. I would never do anything like that. Neither would Henry, Thomas, or Eagle. We know how it feels to be looked down on, so we would never do the same to you. Thank you, Edward, 87546 started. It means a lot that you would say that. Friends? The old engine asked. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, said 87546 nervously. How about allies? How does that sound? I think it sounds perfect, Edward chuckled. But we must get back to the big station for our other jobs. Come on now. Edward and 87546 puffed off, and their journey home was very quiet. But Edward swears he saw his new ally smile, for at least a little bit anyway.